For 1400 years, Bradwell Chapel has been a silent watcher over this isolated stretch of the Essex landscape. Built from the remains of an abandoned Roman fort in 651, the Chapel of St. Peter on the Wall was later passed on to the Benedictine monks from St. Valery in France in the 13th century, before spending the next few hundred years as a cattle barn, with local legends stating that many smugglers used it for their illicit activities. In 2019 we investigated the chapel, and after its restoration and reconsecration in 1920 has become a hub for religious pilgrims, as well as a site of interest for paranormal investigators. So we're now back at the Chapel of St. Peter on the Wall, and we first came here about 3 years ago, and I've got to say, as soon as we stepped in that night, I knew it was going to be somewhere that had activity. It's just got that feel about it. And I wasn't wrong. We had quite a lot of things happen. There was various points throughout the night we could hear footsteps walking through here, and it's such a small confined space that, you know, it's obviously caused by no one else, or we could certainly isolate any natural elements that may have caused these sounds. Most interesting for me, however, was we put down the natural tri-field EMF meter. Now what this does in layman's term is it will detect natural electromagnetic fields. A lot of the EMF detectors we use detect AC currents, which are man-made. This detects DC currents, so only naturally occurring fields. And this thing was going off multiple times throughout the night, huge spikes in EMF. It seemed to have a response to when we were talking to whatever was there, and then all of a sudden it just stopped, literally banged its tracks, disappeared. And I remember I was sitting over in this area over here, and I stood up and I looked over towards the door, and bearing in mind at this point the door was actually shut, and I saw what looked like a flash of light outside, as if someone had taken a photograph. Again, as you've seen outside, so flat for miles around, you can see anyone in the distance. No one was out there. And it was again after that the activity stopped for the rest of the night. It was almost like whoever was in here had just left, and that flash of light was their last sort of notion of being anywhere near this building.
Tonight I'm really hoping that James gets to experience the same level of activity that Luca and I did last time we were here, because this is actually his first time coming, so fingers crossed that we get, you know, visual things happening, we've got noises again, and hopefully we get something big.
Actually coming to the place, it's a lot different from how I'd pictured in my head what it looked like. It's a lot smaller environment. I don't know if that's going to help or hinder the activity we get, but like Luke said, it will actually enclose down more of an area we can actually monitor throughout the night, and we know we're not going to get stuff contaminating from other buildings. It's literally just this and miles of nothing, so we'll see how it goes.
Well, just let us introduce ourselves. Myself and Sophie came here about 3 years ago, and well, we spoke to you, you interacted with us. We've got our friend James here today as well.
Hello. Hello.
And we're here to try and communicate with you, try and see who's in this chapel. Is there anything you can do for us to let us know you're here? Any way you can come forward? We can all feel how charged this place is. We're just waiting for you to come forward and show us. Can you try and open the door?
The latch isn't on, so all you have to do is push it or pull it.
Got a number of bits of technology, bits of equipment in here that I'm sure you can try and work out how to use, try and understand how to utilise them, and that'll be the basis of our communication. When we were here last time, the wall over there, up against that seemed to be an area that you came forward through.
Where's that?
Just literally over there.
Oh, right.
After a quiet start, we decided to split up, Sophie remaining inside the chapel and myself and James heading over to a small wooded area which is also said to have had strange activity occurring there in the past.
Yeah. I think I got that on video. Oh, it's an actual footpath. Stop. Is that all stuff moving to your side?
Yeah, I think it was animals.
Animals.
Oh, we can't do that.
So what is it that the woods is?
Well, it's built, all of this is sort of where the Roman fort was. So, in theory, we're on the same land as that. It's just been told by a couple of people that try the woods here because they're just as active as the chapel.
Right.
It's just me now. I'm in here on my own. Luke and James have gone over to the forest area. You can either stay in here with me or you can go over there with them. But if you're in here, you need to do something. Make a noise. Knock on something. Copy this sound.
Is there anybody in these woods? Could you come towards us?
Maybe we're further in.
Yeah.
What's that? What is it?
Oh, it's like a little hut. Weird.
Strange. Does it carry on that way or does it carry on back where we were just now?
I don't think this is a footpath.
No, I think we're off to the side. I think it's back.
There's a device on the floor. I want you to walk in front of it, walk around it, touch it. Make the lights go off. It lets me know that you're here. If you want me to leave, you need to give me a sign.
Hello?
That's got to be Sophie.
Is he alright?
Hut? Yeah.
If it's not, that's not an animal.
No. I can hear again. Keep going. I can hear talking. No. Shh. I just heard talking as well on to the right hand side.
As soon as you left, the bat started flying around my flipping head and everything.
Well, how did you get in?
I don't know. Because I was like, I could hear this weird like, and then I was like, I said to him, I was like, I'm pretty sure that's the bat's wings like flapping together. And then I literally could hear it like right in my earshot, and I was like, nah, I'm out of here.
Although in our absence bat activity did seem to increase, we certainly don't think it was caused by anything unusual, and it's more than likely that with the chapel being much quieter, the bats simply felt safer to emerge.
It's really weird, there's loads of little noises outside now. That's a footstep. What's that knocking behind you?
Strangely, this small anomaly moving across the floor coincided with the sound of footsteps, followed by the REM pod being triggered, which was positioned right next to where the anomaly appeared. It does however resemble a dust particle reflecting the infrared light from our cameras, which we have recorded many times before. Could it simply be coincidence for these events to have all happened in succession, or have we in fact recorded a partial manifestation of a spirit?
Back away. Move away from the device on the floor.
Yeah.
You stop doing whatever you're doing, please. Step away from that.
That's been sitting on the floor for almost...
I'll reset it.
Yeah, that's been sitting on the floor for almost half an hour.
The one on the right, can you use that one? That's the one we've seen you, or whoever was here last time. You affected that, you made it make a squeaky sound.
See, like that weird, like...
Yeah, just a blip and another.
Can you do that again, please? Peter.
Definitely not got fire on.
No, mine's in my bag, turned off all the way over there.
Can you try and affect one of those other two? There's 3 boxes there. Can you try and affect one of the other 2, please? Be really, I know it may take a lot of energy, it might be really difficult for you. But if you could affect one of the other 2, that would be fantastic. That would be absolutely incredible for us.
See if you can get it to communicate in blips. If it's now imagined to do just individual blips.
Can you get the red and yellow light to go on? Sorry, the green and yellow light.
Move a little bit closer to it.
A little bit closer. That was you were nearly there. You're on the right track.
Oh gosh, what's the...
Chills.
Yeah.
Yeah, what are you doing? Just a little bit closer. Or a little bit more energy. I don't know how this works for you. I don't know how you perceive us and what's in this room. But do what you're doing, just a little bit more.
Just a little bit more. You're so close.
Tell you what, it's proper like, however it does it, it can only do it for like it's pushing for a bit and then it has to stop.
Has to ease off again.
Yeah.
You know the TV show, is it Ghosts? It's BBC.
Yeah.
And the guy's trying really hard to play chess, and it takes all his energy and power to move one piece. It's like that. It's like
even
everything you've got.
Even the film goes where they go on the subway, it's like throws stuff. Right.
Whatever's here, whatever's doing that with the green light, if you can understand us, you can hear us, can you just flash it once?
That was more controlled than it has been before.
That one flash at first, I prefer like.
Just to confirm, so if whatever's making the green light come on, if you can hear us and you can understand what we're saying, can you flash it just twice on its own and then back away?
It's like how the it must be difficult to control, however it is. If I was to count to 5, would you be able to make it go off on 5? Make the light come on and that noise on 5. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The noise again.
The way that it's doing this now, you can see from the rate of the blips, it's something's going closer to it than coming away from it. It's not like it's going close to it and disappearing.
If you can hear us and you can understand us, get as close as you can, make all the lights go off.
Big burst of energy at it.
Biggest burst of
As
energy
much as you
can
can.
give.
See, that was more extended than it's been.
Yeah.
And it's coming in more frequent now.
Yeah. That's it, push further. Push. That's it, that's perfect, keep going.
Grab hold of it.
That was, like the time on it now is
The
a lot
intensity
more.
is really bright.
But is it getting more intense as we're getting more intense?
No, 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 no.
That point.
Look, it's got your lights, got your light.
That's it. That's you know what, that's absolutely fantastic what you're doing.
It's still going. Tell you what's so weird, looking at that light where it's coming on, every now and again I keep seeing like things move into the haze. I don't know what, but like...
Make all the lights go off, all of them. Give me all of the colours. Push. Use every ounce of energy you've got.
Solid green.
Yeah.
Certainly building up. We continued to have interaction with the REM pod, but we were unable to push it any further, so decided to change tactics and conduct an EVP session in hopes of progressing with communication that way. So I've got this instrument out again, which will allow us to hear you if you'd like to speak. Shout as loudly and as clearly as you can into this, please. What was that?
Fuck off.
That was the door opening.
Get your torch on now. Now. Get your torch on now. Get your torch on now. So loud.
It's not windy out there though, is it?
I was just saying that was good.
I mean, there's a bit of a breeze, but
How heavy is that door though? That's like solid.
not enough to move the door. You feel, even just trying to push it like that, it's like it's hard to move that door. It wouldn't just be the breeze.
Our exterior camera was motion activated, and unfortunately the door opening was simply not enough movement to trip it into action. This does however confirm that nothing solid such as an animal or a person was on the other side of the door at the time, and after inspecting the mechanics of the latch and the force needed to push the door, we can find no explanation for how it was opened. So we're coming up pretty much to the end of the investigation now. Started off pretty slow, there wasn't a huge amount going on. I mean, I think we'd all agree we got a bit, after about an hour, we were sort of thinking, is anything going to happen here? Then obviously we had, starting off with, what was that?
What was that? Was that not you?
It's like a scream.
Oh, it was outside again, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, but animal. Yeah, because we heard it on the way up, didn't we? There was that weird, whatever it was. But yeah, then we started hearing little noises. Then we had the REM pod start going off, very different places. Door opened. And the thing is, I literally just, while we're sitting there quietly, I literally just mulled it over in my head, and I thought, the amount of places we go to, and they're all completely different in terms of their characteristics, what activity they produce. Some places we go to, and you get EVP, you get voices, you can hear them, you record them on equipment. Never really had that here. We've had a few noises we thought might be a voice, but nothing solid. But what we had here last time was interaction with our equipment. Not just little dibs and dabs, but like a great big sort of bombastic explosion of activity on our equipment that just subsided. Different piece of equipment, but we've had exactly the same today.
Did you just say a great big bombastic?
Yeah. What's bombastic in that? It's like sort of...
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Great big bombastic explosion on our equipment. It's a different piece of equipment, obviously, but the fact is it's the same activity. Last time I saw a flash of light by the door, as if something had exited. Today, although we didn't have a flash of light, the door opened and the activity stopped. Like, the faces are different, but the story's the same. It's exactly the same activity as last time, it's just different circumstances slightly different piece of equipment, and the door opened instead of there being a flash, but they both mirror each other. And it's like, the amount of places we go to that have very similar activity on each time, it's obviously the characteristics of different places, but yeah, looking at how it mirrors what we experienced last time shows to me that what's going on here obviously has a certain way about doing things. I don't think this will be our last time here.
No.
I think we'll be back.
I definitely think we'll be back for part 3.